Mm. Well, be damned. I guess. Huh. Test. It's just me.
Test.
It's just me. That's what it is. Oh, we're on. We've got 20 seconds. Okay, let me pull up the comments here so we can get a look at. Yeah, I'm glad to
I'm
be getting.
nervous.
Are you nervous? Well,
Yeah.
I don't even know what you're going to talk about, but it must be something big.
Uh,
We got 3
it
people on.
is.
We'll give it
It
another
is.
minute.
Yeah.
Let me turn my phone off.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, we had a big one last night. I'm not sure if and when she's going to want to talk about that. But and then I just spent the last half hour talking to the wizard. You know, the cartoon wizard, Steve.
Mm,
Yeah, he had some pretty good intel. I'm gonna try to get him
mm.
on this week, or maybe this weekend. Oh yeah, the other thing. Oh yeah, we'll talk about the other thing afterwards.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, hey, what's going on, everybody? We got 27 people in the house. Yeah, Julia Allen, I believe we're going to be contacting you. Yeah, we put a list together of like 50 or 60 people. She's on that list. People that had responded to that last show I did, and then other people that had written in that haven't been on.
Hmm.
So I think Morgan
Excellent.
counted when we did the list. It was like 50 something people.
Great.
So yeah, it is great. So yeah, we're just hanging out here. Monique hit me up today, and actually I was going to hit Monique up because she's part of Soulogy, and she's going to collaborate with us in getting some stuff done, including getting. I think between now, this one, and next Sunday, we'll probably
Hmm.
do. I would guess probably 30 shows we'll have lined up. And
Boom.
yeah, Boom's right, and
Yeah.
a lot of them are going to be um, the women that we asked. It's time to come out. You're supported. Come out. Tell us your story. And I have a feeling that even though you've been on quite a few times over the years, you hit me up today and you're like, "Hey, you want to go live? I've got a story to tell." I'm like, "Okay,
My
okay."
stomach is in knots.
It's okay, and you don't have to talk about. You talk about whatever you want to talk about.
Oh,
But
I want to talk. I'm
yeah,
I'm really, I'm getting that push
mm,
to talk. I was going to write, but writing's just not working for me anymore.
yeah,
So it's sort of like I know I'll talk to Todd. I'll tell my story. Um, so yeah, I really don't know where to start because there's so many beginnings.
mm,
Um, okay, let's start with where I am now.
mm-hmm,
Um, so I had been staying with my mother-in-law, who had had back surgery. So I was just looking after her for a couple of weeks, which turned into a little bit longer because she was also moving house. So she really needed some help. So I said, look, I'm just kind of floating around at the moment. I'll help you out. And that was wonderful. It was wonderful to spend some time with her. Um, and, she was so appreciative that I was just there. I really didn't do anything. I was just there if she needed me. Um, so it was that. And then when I left there, I went to this nice little camp spot down by a river. And I thought, where to from here? I really don't know what to kind of do. And then I just thought, I know, I'm in this group on Facebook called Off Grid Living Leaving the Matrix. I'll just put a little post on there and see if anyone's got a property that I might be able to just park my van on for a few months because I find it exhausting trying to work out where you can stay.
mm,
It's just not for me. It takes up too much space. So I thought I'll find somewhere just to stop for a few months until the wet season, and then I might head back south. And so I had 3 responses to that. One was a community on, I think it was 600 acres, and they were growing for prepping. They were prepping and storing food and things like that. And that sounded interesting, but that's a bit further west, southwest from where I am now. And then there was another one which was a family close by, and that sounded nice. And then there was this one, the lady contacted me and said, yeah, I've got 50 acres. You're welcome to park up here for a while. And so I gave her a call, and it was just a bit further north from where I was. Gave her a call, and she said, I'm actually looking for a house sitter as well. She said, I've got a job out west, and she's got animals and stuff on the property. And she said, I'm looking for a house sitter. And I said, well, I'm actually a registered house sitter. Can I come and meet you? So I came and met her, and straight away it felt right. It just felt like the right thing to do. So I said, look, if you'd like me to house sit, I would really like to do that. So that was arranged. So she wasn't leaving for a few more weeks, and I'd arranged to meet up with Morgan in Hervey Bay. We were going to go and spend 10 days in Hervey Bay together. And then I was coming back to the property afterwards. And so and Hervey Bay happened, and that was just huge in itself. Absolutely huge. That was while Soulogy Fest was on. And
What
and
happened in Harvey Bay? What happened? What did you say?
Oh, it was huge. It was
Oh,
just
yeah.
energetically, there was a lot going on.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and
Yeah, I'll say.
yeah, it was very expansive. Very, very
That would be like
expansive.
the 22nd through the end of that month, basically.
We left. When did we leave? The second, I think it was.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But that time period, a lot of people talked about that time period. It was like the 20th or the 22nd through
yeah.
the end of the month. Yeah.
Oh, it was just phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal. So yeah, then I came back here. And so I'm about 3.5 hours north of Brisbane. So it's just beautiful, and I'm sitting the house is on a hilltop valley, and there's a dam down the bottom.
Wow. Her internet fades in and out, so.
Even a deck.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, I might cut out every once in a while because
Yeah, I
I'm
know.
on satellite.
I already told him.
Yeah. Yeah, so there's even a deck built. It's got a roof on it, overlooking the dam, where I can walk down and sit and meditate.
Wow.
And possibly hold a circle or something at some stage while I'm here.
Wow.
So the energy here is phenomenal. It's like I've landed in the most magical of places, and it's completely off grid. So, there's really no interference from anything in my energy field. And it's beautiful. I've got pigs and donkeys and goats and chickens and everything to look after and hang out with. So yeah, that's pretty awesome. And so I'm going to backtrack a little bit. When I was down staying with my mother-in-law, I thought I'll catch up, meet some people who I've been friends with either through social media or whatever that are in the area. So I met a couple of people, and that was lovely. And one gentleman I went and met, straight away we both knew that we've got work to do together.
Wow.
And we didn't speak of it really any more than that because it really wasn't clear, but we knew we had to connect and do some work together.
Did you know this as you were getting to know each other online, or when you actually saw each other? Oh, okay.
I didn't. I don't know whether he did, but for me it was when we met face to face. But I had no clue what it was. And the time wasn't right for me. So I said, look, I need to put this aside for a bit because it's not right for me just yet. There's things I've got to do first. And there were. there were a lot of things within myself that I had to do first. So I think that was a few months ago. And then when I was landing here, I messaged him and said, look, you know, I'm going to be at this place for a while. You're welcome to visit. So it was arranged that he'd come and visit. So on Monday night, visit, and my heart is just going out of control. So we were going to have a fire and cook dinner on the fire, and then that didn't end up happening. We made cacao drink and did a cacao ceremony, and so we each contributed parts of the ingredients into the pot, and then we mixed it together and everything.
She'll be back. Her internet drops every now and then, she said. So her and this person she met. Oh, okay. So we only got to you mixed both ingredients mixed in the cacao, and then y'all had the ceremony.
Yeah. So we actually put a bit of psilocybin in it as well.
Okay.
And so it had this ceremony. This was unplanned. This was completely unplanned. We just knew we were going to get together. So we went outside to watch the sunset, and it was a beautiful sunset. And then the stars came out. We didn't end up lighting a fire, and then the stars came out, and it was the most magnificent, clear, starry night. And where I am, there's absolutely zero light pollution, so it's just the light of the stars. It was just amazing. And then it all started happening. So I don't even know how to tell this story.
What started happening?
Well,
do we
stars...
need to remove all kids from the audience?
No, not at all. Not at all. So the stars started moving in patterns and colours and things, as they will with psilocybin. But it was much, much more than that. I absolutely knew that this was something I've been wanting to bring through for a really long time. And I just hadn't been able to get there. And so as we're sitting there, it's become apparent that we each have part of us. Myself and this gentleman, I don't know if he would like to be named, so I'm not going to name him.
Yeah, of course.
Out of respect. So me and this gentleman, we each have parts of us that are unhealed that we couldn't access on our own. And this is the work we had to do together, was to be able to come together and assist each other to heal these aspects. Now, all of this was going on energetically. So for him, it was PTSD.
Okay.
And for me, it is my sexuality. Now I've been celibate for quite a number of years, even during my marriage and the end of my marriage. I wasn't sexually active, and that's been something huge for me, because when I was younger, I was very sexually active. And so, there's been a lot of healing work going on with all of that. But I knew it was coming. It's been coming for years, and I just wasn't able to access this part of me. So through this ceremony, it's allowed access to this part of me. So it started with the stars and communicating with the stars, and that was wonderful. And the stars were speaking to me. The universe was speaking to me, and downloading me with a whole range of things. But I I ended up just pretty much laughing hysterically for the better part of 4 hours.
What? While you're sitting with this gentleman?
Yeah, yep, yep. So we were holding hands by this stage, and he was very quiet, very quiet. Would speak occasionally, but he was very quiet. I was the vocal one. I was just Miss Chatterbox and laughing hysterically, and I was having a good old time. And it became really clear what we were each doing. So yeah, that was huge. And then we decided, okay, it's time for you to go to bed in that room. I'm going to go to bed in this room, which was absolutely perfect. There was never any intention on my part to for any physical coming together. It was purely energetic. So this is where it's going to be a bit graphic. So I went to the bathroom and sat on the toilet, and I went into labour. And I think I was in there for about an hour. I don't know, time is very fluid. But I think I was in there for about an hour, and I was in full labour. Wow. I was doing the breathing, I was doing the noises and the moaning and everything that comes with birthing a child. And I'm sure... Sorry, go on.
Oh, well, I think you were going to say it, but could this gentleman hear what was happening?
Oh, yeah, he's in the room right next to the bathroom. And I'm yelling out going, oh my gosh, what is going on here? But I knew exactly what was happening. So for many years now, I've tried to heal disease in my womb and ovaries. And I've not been successful. I've had beings come in on multiple occasions and perform etheric surgery and things like that on me. And I'm going to get a bit emotional. And I've not been able to heal it. And anyway, I'm going to backtrack a little bit again and go back to the campsite that I was at when I messaged this lady, Tonya, who owns the property where I'm staying now. And I went for a walk early one morning, and it was beautiful and peaceful in the forest. And I got this intel, healer, heal thyself. And it just kept coming and coming and coming. Yeah, okay, I get that. What am I doing with this? And it wasn't until a few days later, Bay. Are we still here? Yes. I was in Hervey Bay in a float tank. I'd had a sauna and then went in the float tank. And the intel came through that healer, heal thyself. I'm to make a website. And the intention of it is for, me to start working with people. Anyway, so I've made this website, and there's still a lot of work to do on it, but it's up. And healer, heal thyself is what this website is. But it hasn't really flowed. It's not where I would like it to be. And I understand that it's a work in progress, and it will grow and expand as I grow and expand. And flash forward to Monday night again. And here I am sitting on the toilet giving birth. And this is me healing myself. Wow. With the help of this beautiful shaman man who's now in the next bedroom.
Is he saying anything, or like, are you okay, or is he just...
He's having his own experience now.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so we both knew that we would go. We've had this beautiful experience together under the stars, holding each other's hands, and we knew that it was time to physically move apart. And he was having his experience, and I was having my experience.
Wow.
Although my experience was very vocal.
Was it painful, or did it feel good? I don't know, because I've never been in labor.
Yeah, yes and no. Yeah. Yes and no. It was painful, but it was a pleasurable pain. If you get that. So eventually my body started expelling fluid And I'm sorry, but I'm going to be really, the odor was horrendous.
Wow.
And then I actually birthed this mass of disease cells. I felt it come through me. I felt it pass through my vaginal opening and birthed these diseased cells. And it's just sort of like, oh, that felt so incredibly good. It was so incredibly healing. And I'm sort of like, oh, finally I can go to bed.
Wow.
It's not over yet. So I went in, I went into bed, and I have no curtains. I have 2 windows in my bedroom, both completely open to the stars. And so every night, if it's a clear night, the stars just shine in on me, right? So then I go to bed and I start writhing around. I am not touching myself, okay? This is not masturbation. There is no hands or physical touching on my part, but I start having this cosmic orgasm. So the stars are coming in through my window and basically permeating my body through my vagina.
Wow.
And my whole body is an explosion of light and this huge cosmic orgasm. And again, it felt like this was going on for hours. I really do not have any concept of time, but it was absolutely exquisite. But at the same time, I'm going, please stop. My body is exhausted. My body had been through 4 hours of hysterical belly laughter. And so that was a workout in itself. Then at least an hour birthing on the toilet, and then for God knows how long in this huge body multiple orgasm. And it was just phenomenal.
I was gonna say, were you getting information? But I guess you knew all along what was happening. Like you were.
I did. So a lot of people would call this a Kundalini experience or a Kundalini awakening. Now, I know my Kundalini has awakened before, but I wasn't conscious for it. So here it is. It's happened again, or I don't know if it's an awakening or just a Kundalini rising experience, but this time it was in full consciousness. Because my consciousness is something that I've been working on quite a bit, because I tend to have experiences, integrate them, and completely forget about them. I don't take them with me. I leave them in the moment that the experience happened. But I really, am understanding how valuable it is to maintain that conscious aspect of the experience and bring that consciousness with me. So I'm now able to carry that forward. Where am I up to? So eventually I think I went to sleep for some time, but then, I was awake again at 1:30 and the stars were coming back in, and just outside one of the windows on my bedroom is a big tank with 2 snakes in it.
What?
And yeah, out on the outside of the window, this big tank with 2 snakes. They're jungle pythons, right? And I hear them at night. I hear them moving in their tank at night.
Are they like tank is enclosed? They can't get out?
No, they can't get out.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, yeah. It's got rocks on the top to make sure they don't get out because they're very strong. So I was hearing them move, and I saw what looked like a snake going up the screen of the window. And I'm like, shit, the snake's gotten out. And I'm like, wow, that's really appropriate because the Kundalini's a serpent, isn't it?
Right.
It's really appropriate that I'm now seeing these snakes that have got out of their enclosure. And then as my eyes really started to focus, I realized it was a possum on top of the snake tank. And then the possum went up the pole and onto the roof. So it wasn't actually a snake, but when I opened my eyes and looked over, it's sort of like I saw this snake going up the window. So, that was quite symbolic and really confirmed, this was a Kundalini experience. Now, every night since that night. So 5 nights in a row, I've woken at about 12:30 to 1:30 in the evening with the stars communicating to me, and downloading me with all this data, all these packets of light, and everything. And that's when I messaged you, was when I was awake this morning, getting downloaded with all these packets of light, going, tell it on Soulogy, tell Todd on Soulogy about your experience.
Are you do you know what the packages of light pertain to? Is it like personal, or do you even know?
I at the time I do, but by the time I go back to sleep and wake up, it's kind of integrated through me, right. And so just becomes part of right. me to then move forward with. If there are any specific messages that come through, I will write them down, because that's the only way I'm actually going to remember them.
Right.
And share them out if that's what the message is. Yeah.
Are you having body orgasms when you wake up, these 12:30 to 1:30 thing?
There's been a couple. Yeah. Not to the extent of the one on Monday night, but definitely a sensation experience. Yeah.
Wow. So was what you birthed, the disease cells, was it like a mass? Or was it? It was. Wow.
Yep. I would say about the size of an egg.
Wow.
The size of a chicken egg.
This is phenomenal. Yep. So it sounds to me like, I'm not saying I'm right, but number one, this, because I do know a little bit about, your medical, since knowing you, for a few years. You've mentioned it from time to time. But like, then all the work that you did on it, it sounds like it was a result of, kind of culminating, meeting this gentleman and holding space for each other, but also getting what, like people talk about, I wonder what my purpose is, when people say that. And with a lot of awakenings, people get that. I wonder if, and you were guided to create a website, because it's like your story is the model for, in a way, I guess, what is it called? Healer Heal Thyself, or Physician Heal? Yeah. Like, so do you feel like that's becoming like a purpose-driven thing?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. This diseased mass inside of me, this is something I've been working on for years and years and years. So yeah, it was me and this gentleman coming together that actually, and I felt so safe to have this experience with him as my witness. Wow. With him present to witness this experience, and me there simultaneously to witness his experience. Wow. It was so powerful. It was really so powerful.
Was there like a soul recognition with this gentleman?
Yes. Yeah. Look, not cognitively, but yeah, definitely in the soul. I don't know if we'll come back together to do more work, or if this was a one-off. I really got no idea. I have no attachment to anything. It was a hell of a first date. Yeah. But it really just, it was just so beautiful, to share that space with another person in that way, because most of my deep healing work I've done on my own.
Yeah.
With help from wonderful friends who I've been able to speak to, but very rarely having the experience in front of anyone else. And this was a full physical experience.
I know a lot of the stuff that I've experienced over the years and really ramped up the past 2 months. That the geographical aspect, like the location of my soul and other souls in certain places, almost like we've come back to PowerPoints together that we've been at before in previous incarnations. but there was so much. I just describe it like a clock, and each second has a cycle, and that like we're at the end of this revolution, right? To the cycle that ends the whole cycle. The big cycle ending all the little cycles. So it was like all these, like I could think of so many different things, so many, and it wasn't just me, but like Mulberry Mountain, my friend's place in Texas, my friend's place in Camp Verde here, even where I'm staying at right now. I'm house sitting for Tim Smith, and it's a portal. So I'm wondering if it's the same type of thing I've been experiencing, which is like, say in this case, these two souls that have had previous incarnations or something, right, coming back to a place that's a portal where they maybe have come before. You know what I mean? Because I would think that 50 acres you're on sounds like a portal to me.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. That's very evident. Yeah. And you know, right down to the day before Tonya left, she said, "I don't even know how I saw your message." She said, she very rarely goes on Facebook, and the group that I posted it in, she never ever sees anything from that group. So my message just appeared to her because there were far greater things at play here.
Yeah.
And both of us know that Tonya knows, and I know, and Miss Peanut over here, the pig, knows that I'm meant to be here right now.
Yeah. That feels the same too as some of the energies I experienced and was privy to. Like just in general, like there were so many people that said I have to go to the Soulogy Fest, and basically saying I don't want to go, but I have to go. And most of them I didn't know beforehand, but there was just this whole like intuitive, innate knowing, which it feels the same as what you're talking about. I wonder, this must be going on in a lot of places, I would think.
Yeah, like, you know, this experience, I saw my power. You know, I felt my power, and I accepted to embody my power.
Wow.
During this experience. And like I've seen myself in visions as a tantric priestess before in previous lifetimes, where with great reverence it is the tantric priestess's role to teach the young man in his coming to manhood how to revere woman, you know, how to honor woman and honor himself as a man at the same time. And, you know, that's been my role previously. So, you know, part of that came back into me and embodied through me. Now, I have no idea where that's going to go. You know, it'll unfold as it needs to unfold.
It's going to be a 5D. No, I'm not going to make any jokes. Well,
yeah,
that's interesting too, because like I feel like, wow, well, maybe he was one of those that, you know, you taught before, right? I mean,
who knows?
And then I was actually going to ask you about the power, because obviously there's been a lot of talk about during this time period, the last 2.5 months, or now 3 months, the masculine power, kind of anchoring in the real divine nature of it coming through. I know I've talked about it. I've seen others going through it, men and women, mostly men. But I wonder, do you have any idea what that mass was? Like what you released? Because obviously, whatever it was huge enough for you to go into multiple body orgasms for the next couple of days. So,
yeah. I do. I was going to say something I've completely forgotten.
Talking about the
now,
power.
Yeah. I haven't been to like a medical physician for a very long time. And so the medical proof is not there. But I know within myself these were cancerous cells,
right,
that are from past trauma that I've been holding in my body. And they've grown, they've expanded and things like that over the decades.
Wow.
And yeah, I believe that's what it is. I believe that I birthed these diseased cancerous cells from my body.
I believe you. I
Mm.
know you did. I know you did. And of course the evidence being uh, what came, what happened physically, to say the least. I mean, that's because, I mean, obviously we've all done a lot of energy work, and sometimes when you do energy work and you feel that release, you feel something come in, or you sense something coming in. But everything seems to be taking a more physical, um, you know, it's more physical, the things that are happening for us as we
Yeah,
anchor and embody. So I think
yeah,
this is extremely powerful. I talked to a
yeah.
friend of mine here that lives in Sedona a couple of days ago, and I didn't know that she had I guess, a hysterectomy, because she had some cancerous things in her uterus, I guess, or around her uterus. And it was when COVID hit. It was like a year ago, maybe 2 years. I can't remember. But she worked on herself. She works on herself, and she kind of knew what was going on. And she set the intentions, had the surgery, and when she came out, they wanted to put her on chemo and radiation or whatever, and she said no. Um,
Mm.
so I think more and more people, but yours is like a huge example. I mean, that's
Yeah,
huge.
yeah. I made the decision. Oh, I think it was about 5 years ago
Mm,
that I was not going to go down the allopathic route.
mm,
And I knew I had issues before that. And I just made peace with myself and said, if I can't heal this, then it may, you know,
right,
take my body, take my soul from my body. And I was absolutely at peace with that. And there have been times over these years where I've gone, am I making the right decision?
right,
Is this the right decision? And part of me has always known it was.
right,
And those parts that go, is this the right decision, is mostly, I haven't been very public about this because people who you love see you making this choice not to go and get medical intervention, and they might think it's selfish, or a whole range of things, and really it's not about anyone except for me,
right.
and that was my decision and I made it.
Wow,
So yeah, and because I knew if I was going to heal, I would heal myself.
wow. Well,
And there's absolutely been help from other people,
right.
um, and a bit of guidance along the way and things like that. But I knew I had to heal myself.
Well, I think the other thing too is, and I know things are changing very, very rapidly. So things that were not possible are now possible, and things that maybe took a while don't take as long now. And we have
Mm,
many cases. All of us know of cases of instant healing over the years. But I think another thing that I think is important, or at least to me, is the fact that you've been on this for so long, and all these healings that you've done on your own, or maybe with some collaboration, or even like the beings coming in, like all of that wasn't unsuccessful. That was, to me, that was all part of, and this was the culmination of the climax, no pun intended, or the climaxes. I want to have some of these. I'm kidding. Um,
it's possible. You can.
oh, I know, I can. I just had some last night with Morgan, and it was
Yeah,
same type of
yeah.
energy. I mean, it's obviously you're not touching yourself, and it's something. To me, what's happening is like I even told her today, and I don't mean this in an arrogant way, but I'm not downloading anymore. I don't
Mm,
feel like it's downloading. I feel like I know. So the
mm,
information downloading to me feels like somebody's sending it to me from, and that's how I kind of viewed it, kind of like we viewed God when we were first born and brought into religion. But to me, it feels like it's in me, and you search for it in you, and it's there somewhere.
yeah,
Um,
yeah. That's right. That's right. And like these experiences I'm having each night with the stars,
mm,
with the light coming in through the window, and it flows through me.
right,
and back out. It doesn't stop, it just flows through. And so, like you asked if there's any specific information or anything I get from that. Well, there's really not,
Right.
because it just flows through, and whatever it's doing, I don't know, but I know it's just, whew, just.
Well, I mean, really, when you consider the potential severity of your condition from, let's say, a 3D human linear perspective, because female problems are nothing. I mean, that's always a very serious thing potentially, right? But like, I mean, that's hard evidence to me. It's hard evidence that, I mean, you had the issues that you've had. I mean, that's a pretty serious thing, but you were on it the entire time. Like you never, you said you wavered a little bit and you doubted yourself a little bit, but you didn't stop. Do you feel like it's You feel like it's totally gone? I mean, that's kind of.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. There's definitely residual effects happening in my body. Yesterday I woke up, and see, this is different because I normally experience pain on the right side of my body. And it's the right side of my body in my my ovaries and my womb, my uterus, that were holding these cells. It was on the right side, not on the left. But I woke up yesterday morning, and like the left side of my neck and down through my shoulder was in pain, like whiplash. It felt like whiplash, if you've ever had whiplash. And I woke up with it again this morning. And then as soon as I spoke with you and Morgan this morning, it was gone.
Wow.
It was gone. It's like I knew that pain on the left side of my body that I woke up with yesterday morning was because I hadn't told this story. My feminine was going, tell this story, you've got to put it out there. And I'm just going, I don't feel like writing. I can't write it. I don't want to just go on and do a line, say it by myself or whatever. And it's sort of like, okay, Todd, deal with Todd.
Perfection.
Yeah.
Isn't that crazy?
And I know I'd told you a couple of years ago this was coming, and when it came, could I jump on a live with you? And you said, yeah, absolutely. But it's taken 2 years since that time.
Yeah. God, that's a long time. But things have been really accelerated since the time COVID came out, right? I mean, 2020, 2021, and now we're almost done with 2022. God, I was gonna. Do you anytime something happens over the years, we might see something or run into something or a synchronicity, and we get that validation and that affirmation. Like it kind of boosts us a little bit or reinforces our perception of ourself. Do you feel like that you had any type of expansion in personal trust for yourself?
Absolutely. I really haven't trusted myself. It's been a process of learning that for a lot of years, and see, my eyes are starting to well up again. Now I feel like I can really trust myself. I'm in love, and I'm in love with myself and my life. And, it feels really good to say that because that wasn't there before.
Yeah.
And, just feels like it's been such a long journey to get to this point. And I am so thankful it's here. And I'm so thankful that I see all the miracles happening around me and happening for all of us. And, I know that we can all do this. I absolutely know that we can all do this. And I can't tell anyone how to do it for themselves, but I can certainly support them and help them find that within themselves. I don't know why, but just in my mind just before, like the idea of med beds came up for me. And people creating med beds as like a physical thing to put out there as a product.
Right.
I don't believe they're a product. I believe they exist inside all of us.
I agree with
You
you.
know, in a group with Morgan and another lady, Sandra, we went in with the intention to have a look at the pain that I was experiencing. This was, I don't know, maybe 6 months, 10 months ago. We went in to do this session for me to see if I could find a healing chamber. And we did. And I had 9 beings come around me, and these 9 beings came through in a process I did with Morgan a couple of weeks back again, and they've been with me every single time I put the octahedron around myself now.
Wow.
These beings are there with me. And there was 9, but now there's only 8 because I'm one of them. So I'm the 9th.
Wow.
And 9's always been a very powerful number for me. So yeah, and I know all of these 9 beings are aspects of
Right.
of myself, but aspects of source.
Right.
One in the same. So yeah, it's just a way that information can come through and that support. Yeah, I'm just rambling now. I don't even know what I'm saying.
It's perfect. Yeah, to me it sounds and feels like a personal monad.
Mm.
You know? Like,
Yeah.
and then the other thing too is like even the way, like you and this gentleman planned, didn't really plan it, but you coordinated it. Like it was, you were reaching out, you were heading by that way or whatever. But like even like what you said about like even just talking to Morgan and I this morning, and having something going on, and then there's something that happens when souls kind of come together. That it's I notice that a lot. Like when I travel, and like even with coming over to Sedona in July, anyone that would come into my field, whether it was something that I would go, oh, this is cool, or I don't really want to deal with this, or whatever it is, I knew that there was a reason it was happening more than ever, right? Like I knew that, and I saw a lot of evidence of that. I saw a lot of, there would be like a little meeting, and then all of a sudden you'd see the effects of that coming together. So I think that's going back to what I was saying earlier about this whole circling around, or the cycles, reweaving through, retracing steps. But I think it's becoming, involving parts of the earth, parts of dimension, obviously, but the person, the people that are incarnated, whether it's online or whether it's in person, because it's pretty much the same thing to a degree.
Yeah. And I've never felt safe before to speak about plant medicines and fungi and stuff like that as support in doing this work. But you know what? I feel very comfortable in speaking about that now. I don't feel like there's anything wrong in doing it.
No.
If that is going to help me break down that ego barrier so that I can get through to that healing part of me, then if that's what I need, that's what I need. It's not something I do all the time. It's very occasionally and sporadic. But sometimes I just need that little bit of extra help to park my ego.
Yeah.
And really get into those deep places to do the work. So, if that's what I need to do, that's what I need to do.
Well, and I think another thing too is people like you, I mean, everyone has their specialties, I guess, or their purposes, but like what you've done and then sharing it, I'm a big believer in this. I mean, you're now transmitting the code of your experience, and it's going to be easier for other people to do it.
Yeah.
And then I think as far as the psilocybin goes, or plant medicine, I mean, we get caught up in what's disclosure, it's the secret space, it's all the conspiracy stuff. But I think one of the big disclosures is going to be plant medicine. I just saw a pretty credible report out of a university a couple of days ago, and it was talking about using psilocybin. I'm sorry, it was a study they had done with real people to quit drinking and smoking, right? And they used psilocybin, and it was about an 86% effectiveness. So they would go in consciously with a conscious intention when they took the medicine, and because of the fact that you know the ego is kind of put out of the way, and it's more of a spiritual, religious type of experience. They were saying that that's what they were coming to, was that because of the depth of the quest, I guess, it was working like almost 90%, which is pretty amazing.
And you know, it really makes a lot of sense, the demonization of it, you know, in the 60s in the Nixon era, you know, because it's hard to control people who are having those expansive experiences. And, you know, that's when things really got serious with the control of the population, through media, through television and things like that. So it's making a resurgence now. And I think it's really, really valuable. I've studied it for a long time. I've participated for a long time, and I think it's really important that we use these sometimes as a breakthrough source, because sometimes you just can't get that breakthrough. And even more important, that it's witnessed. It needs to be witnessed.
Witnessed and also shared.
Yeah.
I even with the microdosing, which you can barely feel, but like I met a lady, a really incredible lady. She's on that list to come on the show. I hope she comes on. But she's 4 years. She's been microdosing with her coffee in the morning, and she's one of those that, you know, I met her before the fest, before the event. She got there a couple days early, and I didn't know her before then. We'd exchanged messages prior to Soulogy Fest, but she just put together really sharp lady. You know, just really t-shirts and shorts and very, you know, Spartan kind of existence. And then another friend of mine who had been having some issues, some health issues. One of my other friends is pretty well versed in the psilocybin, and he put the friend on microdose. And I saw him like maybe 10 days later, and he was already feeling better. So.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if you know much of this. So my daughter has experienced pretty debilitating anxiety for quite a number of years now. And it's been she's had enough of it. You know, she's exhausted from it. And so when I was in Victoria earlier this year, I started harvesting psilocybin mushrooms.
Where do you do that? Where?
Well, down in Victoria at certain times of year, it's the right climate, and they're just growing everywhere. I had 2 patches that I was collecting from.
So these are like out of cow poo, right?
No, these are forest ones. They grow in
I didn't know
in natural forest.
You are
sort of
quite
like
the
areas.
Quite the expert.
Hey, I have many hidden talents that I'm just going to start talking about.
Good.
So yeah, I was gathering up as many as I could, and I was researching microdosing. Met some wonderful people with some wonderful resources, and at the beginning of August I went down to Adelaide to visit my daughter, and ground up all of these mushrooms. I dried them out previously, ground up all of these mushrooms and made them into microdoses for it, and started her on a microdosing regime. Now it's been a bit of a rocky path, but I'm seeing changes.
Right.
There's a lot of things going on in her life, a few things which she's able to feel really positive about. So she's not convinced it's the microdose that's having benefit, but feeling her energy, like she has a very frenetic energy.
Right.
It's just like bouncing all over the place. And I spoke to her the other day, and this was also after we did a group session for daughters, one of Morgan's group sessions for daughters, and I'd done quite a few sessions on my daughter for the last couple of weeks intensively. And spoke to her the other day, and her energy was calm. There was no longer this frenetic bouncing of her energy. It was quite calm. And I haven't seen her like that for a very long time. So, you know, it was a combination of quite a few things, but I know the microdosing is having an effect.
Well, and I think so people understand too, and I'm not an expert, but I have microdosed and of course done full doses, but the microdosing, it's not even detectable. It is detectable, you know, from yourself, but it's not like a full blown colors and vibrancy of you know, animate and inanimate objects and whatever comes with that, you know. But I'm and you know, they're using it for PTSD. They're using it for some other trauma based issues in, you know, psychiatry. So, and even other forms of plant medicine are being used. We had a lady on from Utah, from Salt Lake City, that was raised Mormon. This was about 2 years ago, and she had, I guess, super anxiety. You know, she had quite a few medications she was on. About 22 or 23 years old, decides got a download or something. She ends up going to Peru, and she got into the whole frog venom, the toad venom, and actually, you know, kind of extrapolated that out into her purpose. So she's actually built this whole thing where she's working with pharmaceutical companies and insurance companies, mostly insurance companies and hospital networks, to actually treat people legally. And I think she's not legal in the U.S., but she's legal in UK and Canada. So, I mean, it's coming. It's coming. There's no doubt. The more of that stuff that comes out, the less pharmaceuticals we'll have. And I think pharmaceuticals are, you know, they're headed down the drain, just like the banking system and all the other BS institutions and systems that we have.
Yep, that's it. We don't want control of our healing anymore. We want to take responsibility of it ourselves.
Yeah.
And so for me, plant medicine.
Yeah. She looks great, doesn't she? It's an amazing story, though.
Oh, here we are.
We're back. No, you should. You know what you should do. You should. By the way, we have obviously access on Restream, but we also have access on Ecom for all this Ecam local access.
Yep.
Which I could actually put on a cloud. Now I think about it, we'll talk about that. But yeah, you should put. Yeah, I know she is glowing. You should maybe consider putting this interview on your website, because I might. You know, what I'm picking up is like your story itself is the basis of it all. And like you said earlier, I can't show you how to do it, but I can kind of, you know what I mean? Like, obviously the person's got to do it for themselves.
Yeah.
But,
that's right. That's right. And yeah, that's right. I have, excuse me, I really enjoyed telling this today. And yeah,
so you don't know if there's going to be a second date. That's all I want to know.
It's not a date.
I know.
I don't know. We might have more work to do together. I'm not sure.
Were you already aware? Did you already have like a connection, a high frequency connection with this gentleman? Did you know that? I mean, did y'all have that figured out, or do you think his lower vibrational tendencies were kind of like driving him? Unexpectedly.
Oh no, it was definitely a higher connection.
Yeah.
He's a shaman. He's a phenomenal person. He actually has a community men's house.
Oh, wow.
And works with men in the community. They come and stay, and a lot of healing happens and things like that. So, yeah,
We should get him on the show.
this is what he does.
We can do.
I can ask him, see if he wants to.
Well, we have this technology now that we're going to be playing with. We did it with Steve, the ET here, where we make him a cartoon character. But what we can actually do is we can actually do a live animation. So, like, all we'd have to do is have, like, say, if it was you, have your face, like right here, like you give it to us. We get it, 2 days in advance. We make the character. And then if the person doesn't want to be seen, I actually feel like this might help us with some of the women that are afraid to come up. So I feel like that it could be something that will work, where they don't have to be a dark screen with nothing on it, but they can actually be a character that they would approve, that would actually sync with their voice and their movements.
Oh,
yeah,
that's fun.
Yeah, it's going to be.
I like that.
There's going to be a lot of, and it's early stages. I'm not really involved with it. I'm Ty and a couple other people are starting to like dig into it, just the very, very beginning. But yeah, it's just there's so many. I don't know. I don't even know why I brought that up. What was I talking about? Oh, if he didn't want to give away his identity, then he could, he could be a character.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah, cool.
I'm really pleased that you. I don't even know what to say. I mean, I know you so well, and you know what you mean to me. I mean, like I was telling you, after I did that song with the guitar, which was just like a spur of the moment, I got to do this and get it out like you did, right? Like, I got to say this. And I just got this message from you because I wasn't feeling so great. And you were like, fuck yeah. And I was like, oh, yeah. I knew what you were talking about. That's all you said was, fuck yeah. And I was like, wow. Yeah, but just knowing you all these years, and it's so awesome, like, to see people, because you see them on the show, and then you see them. I know I see you more than that, but, like, to see people changing, I'm sure people see me changing, and it's just really cool. But this type of information, this is the stuff that is really getting good. Like, I was in, when I went to Houston, I was in my grandmother's old neighborhood where my daughter lived, and I went into this bar, and I was talking to this guy who was tied in with Joe Rogan and Tim Dillon, and he was pretty tight with them, like we are probably. And anyway, we started talking about what I do and what he does, and one thing I really notice about these podcast platforms is they're 95% masculine energy, typically men, and it's the old stuff, and I'm talking about the frequency, the energy of it. So I was telling him what we talk about. And, I was telling him everything, fairies, ET visitation, instant healing, And he asked me 3 times, are you okay? And he meant it. Are you on medication? But this is what I'm talking about. And by the way, a couple days later, he called me at 2 o'clock in the morning, wanted to know the name of it again because he wanted to go watch it. So something ignited in him. But this is what I'm talking about. Like you don't see this in the mainstream media. This story in itself carries so much code and really potential healing for other people at a rapid level, in my opinion. So, yeah, we're going to do everything we can with your help to get as many of these stories out there as possible.
Yeah, bring it on. Let's do it.
Yeah.
There was something I was going to say, and I've completely forgotten.
That happens. That happens all the time.
All the time. Yeah. Oh, well, doesn't matter.
All right. I will hang on a second. Let's buzz off, and then we'll talk about this other thing. Thank you so much.
Goodbye. Thank you for listening to my story.
Thank you, everybody, for your continued love and support and contributions. Allow us to keep doing this every day. We're going to do 30 shows between now and next Sunday. Or not this Sunday, but next Sunday. Yeah. Okay. Bye-bye. Let's see. I think you actually...